There you go. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 3 of the Streamerbot podcast with me, Terrier Darts. These are streamed live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Terrier Darts. So our guest today is a very good friend of mine. We've known each other well over a year now, I would say.
Indeed.
And is the whichever way I want to point, that way. Mecky B.
Whichever way he is.
Previously known as Mecky B. He dropped a Mecky for some reason. It was too much of a mouthful. That's where it was.
I did.
You got tired after the first Mecky. You're like, Mecky me. Oh God, I can't. No, done.
Well,
so
do you know?
Mecky B.
Do you want to know something? Like, first, it doesn't necessarily take away from the name itself. Still, in principle, means like the same thing. But somebody said to me, they were like, maybe it's too long, and I was like, and I hadn't thought about it. It never went through my mind before, and I was like, that's a good damn point. And they were like, you want something a lot shorter, sharper? And I was like, okay, can we do just Mecky? No. Played around with a couple of other things. Do we drop the B? You know, and then eventually, yeah, it was like Mecky B, done. It's a lot shorter, easier to type, easier to remember. You know.
I mean, it's weird. I still know you as Mecky B. You know.
I know.
And that will always be there.
I mean, there's a lot of correspondence and things like that where I'm still have that, so that's not unusual. You know, I think I'm still known by that name in many places.
Many places.
Yeah.
But Mecky B don't matter because you're still a very good friend and a fantastic human being. So how are you doing? How are you actually doing today?
I'm not too bad. I think I said, work was busy. I was looking forward to this. Looking forward to, being a part of the experience of your podcast. I've seen the others on YouTube because I think I missed them live. And I was just like, dude, it's cool. I like what you're doing. I like how much you're talking about the Streamerbot, as we will find out. I find it really useful. And yeah, no, I'm not too bad, man. I'm not too bad. It's raining as well, so we've just had miserable weather all day. I've been rained on like 3 times.
Can you hear the wind? Like, anyone who's British will know that you can hear the wind. And it's like, although our wind's not that bad when you consider like when other countries that get like tornadoes and all that,
right.
We get the slightest bit of bad weather. We're like, oh God.
my bin bags are over there. Oh no.
Joys of being British.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
It's 8 degrees, bloody gritters are out. It's
true. That'll be tomorrow.
But when it's minus, they don't come out. When it's like icy roads, like no, it's too icy for gritters.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't bother.
Joys of being British. Ow.
How are you? Let me flip the question on you.
How am I doing? I'm fine. I did tweet out earlier that I wasn't feeling great. I'm not feeling great. I've got a little bit of an headache. I was playing with my niece yesterday.
Yeah.
And I picked her up. She swung her head back, and she clonked me right on the side just before.
Oh.
And she but she was fine. And I'm there after thinking, oh God, it didn't half kill.
Kids for you. Kids' heads, they're just like indestructible almost.
I can still feel it now. I'm like thinking, and it just knocked me off sync all day. I'm thinking, she could really give me a mild concussion.
I mean, listen, if you are you feeling dizzy at any point? How'd it happen? Well, I definitely got punched by a random person.
Yeah, a big beefy guy who walks around like he's carrying carpets.
Yeah. Barrel-chested, no-nonsense guy.
But I mean, we could talk about this for a full hour, to be honest. I'll bang my head, but it's fine. But we won't. So, as always, the first question is, how did you get into streaming?
It's a very interesting question. Now, I was thinking about this. The funny thing is, I think I knew about Twitch. I'm going to sound like such an old man now. I knew about Twitch a long time ago. I think when it was in its early days. But I kind of ignored it because I thought it was... I didn't quite understand what it was. I didn't. I think it was like you couldn't really get to it on the systems, or you could, but you could capture. You know, it just seems really complex and complicated. And I was like, I get that people are playing games. That's cool if I want to see a game. But then I was like, yeah, maybe not for me. And then I was watching Adam Savage. Do you know Adam Savage? I mean, you probably know the name. So where he's on like Jinx TV and other stuff. Like I had seen him on The First Hour and some other things, and I follow him on Twitter. And then I saw him say about, oh, by the way, I'm on Twitch. Come and see me live. And I was like, oh, okay. Go and see what this thing's like. Literally clicked into it. Was like, oh, okay. View. Just enjoy the stream. I don't think I'd properly signed in or anything like that. Just watching, just seeing how it all worked. And then I was like, no, I want to interact and say hello and stuff like that. And then, you go through all the process, you set up stuff, all that boring stuff. And then it was like, just from there. I mean, I then got introduced to like other streamers, like mods of his, who then they stream themselves, and then you catch them, and then you're in raids with other people. And then, before you know it, you're 3 or 4 people deep. You start following more people. And then you see like the experience, and you see that people are having fun doing these things. And I kind of thought to myself, you know what? Of an evening, I was doing this anyway. Of an evening, after a certain time of night, I would sit, play games, till after midnight, then go to bed kind of thing. And I was like, why not? Why not give it a go? See what happens. The worst thing, you can just be like, this isn't for me. Done, and this was fun. Then, strangely enough, like the pandemic hit, which affected everybody, and like I was home to watch more Twitch, and it was on my second screen. It was always the thing, It replaced, strangely enough, podcasts mostly, because that used to be my daytime listening. Like when I was traveling to work, I was listening to a podcast. At work, listen to it. It just was one of those things. But then Twitch became that for me because it was so interactive that I was like, okay, this is cool. And then, like I say, I was just like, hey, let's give it a go. Why not? We're here. There's no stress of, will I be home in time or anything like that. Just do it and see what happens. I mean, like early days, it was rough. I had a microphone which was a dictaphone that you could plug into a PC and run, but it would pick up all these like low frequency noises. It was horrible. I couldn't move it because if I moved it, it sounded like you just get this awful noise anytime anything like was interacting with it. Couldn't hit the table too hard. It was so rough. And like the camera was on my side and I was watching the TV, and it was a really, really bad experience. I tried a few things. I mean, I did Twitch Studios. I did that to try and get that working. You could you can sign into PlayStation Plus now, whatever that version, the remote connection. You can do PlayStation remotely. Signed into that. Broadcast it and had the window. So PlayStation was like over there. I'm at the back of the room. I've got this thing projected. And at one point, that's how I was streaming. That was like the best way I could stream. Because it was okay, but not amazing. So if you look back, you can see some of those early videos, they're like stop motion. It's so awful because, the machine couldn't do it and let me play the game. It was just too much. Purely from the console. And I was like, oh man, I need to think about this. Then when I found out you could stream from console directly, I then did a couple streams like that. So I did Spider-Man and also Detroit Become Human. And again, no schedule, just click the button, just went, you know what, let's go broadcast, let's see how this goes. And had somebody who's like massively helpful. Whole time they're like, if you're stuck, do this, blah, 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 like backseating. But I didn't, in my brain, I didn't really understand the concept of that. Still, again, quite early days in knowing Twitch, so I was like, oh, this person really helpful. Deep down, they're super backseat, but I do appreciate them because I think they helped me get through like X amount of time. They had someone for me to interact with. I think that made such a difference because you can see somebody reacting to doing something, laughing, somebody, like they're engaged. Like that made a difference for me. So yeah, that was like literally what got me into streaming. I was just like, let's click the button and see what happens. Obviously, timing changed in the we're approaching 2 years at this point. Sort of like stuff has been improved and made tweaks, and over time just made improvements and got to a point where I'm like, no, I can do this. I can work in this way comfortably. It just makes sense. And it's a very different setup to what it used to be. So yeah, that's like I say, that's how I got into it all.
I mean, I remember you doing the I think it was the 1 year look back stream you did.
Yeah.
And I remember you showing off them clips, some older clips with the dictaphone. And
yeah.
I think there was somewhere you had like this upwards angle on yourself as well.
Oh, I did. Do you know? So I shall lift the curtain on that one. So I had a like a dinner tray, but it claims to be a laptop tray, but it's a dinner tray. It's like it's folds up neat. It's kind of got the board, and then you just flex it out. And like that was what I used to stream from at one point. I had my laptop there, and I was like trying to figure out the best angle. So some of those are very, very rough because it's the camera that's on the machine. Well, it was a terrible camera, but it's just that like it's very close to you. You can't control any angles. Then work were like, you need a webcam, and I was like, cool. And they gave me like a top of the line one, and I was like, I don't think they know what they have. So I was like, I'll take this because like Joe Blogs, who's just gonna not use it at all, has no idea what they have. I'll borrow this. Boom. So again, you can just see like over time how much it improved and changes and stuff like that, man. But yeah, you're right. Some of them were rough, and then it was figuring out like XSplit, and trying to make that work for me. So again, you can see some of the earlier ones. I've got XSplit, and it's either really terrible or okay. But again, that was like down to lighting. So if the light was right, it was okay. But again, early days, you don't think about these things. You think I've got a ring light, that's enough. Now, I've got two lights, and you can see the difference. Like it's massive. The change. Yeah.
Yeah, I have two lights. I've got one here. Like that you can see. But it's unusual that how many people start with console, because Bongo, who did the first podcast, said he started with console. Yep. Andy said he started with console, and obviously you just said that you did some with console, and I've obviously said I did some with console. I mean, some of my first very streams were console, because again, like I said, it was just so easy just to. Well, that would be my first streams were like no mic, no camera, just playing and it was like, no, this isn't going to work. And then that's when I started looking into other stuff and stuff like that, getting a cam. Yeah. And I had to work from my budget. My budget weren't big, so I had a really bad camera to start with. I had a really bad mic to start with. I think like 30 quid camera, 30 quid mic. And it was like, this is just what I've got to do with.
I mean, to be honest, I think, like, I'd say this. For me, a lot of those USB mics are actually quite good. If you can get them leveled nicely, or EQ'd like we were talking about before, you get some really nice stuff out of it. I think the thing that used to bother me a lot, that in the early days I didn't know about, was like noise gating. So if the TV was too loud, which, as I said before, I was reliant on, I had no capture card, so I had to have the TV on. So you would see some streams where I'm literally looking over the laptop to see the game. So I'm like this, so like it was such an experience, man. But like that at that point, I think I had like a USB mic, and that was about 30 quid, 40 quid. I think now and the annoyance is those have gone back up in price, but for what it was, solid mic, and it served me really well for a long time, and it's been subsequently donated to somebody that we know. So yeah, but yeah, dude, I'm with you. I mean, like for me, early days, it was the way up of how much do you want to spend? How much should you spend? Like I know some people would just go out there and spend a butt ton of money and then have the amazing setup, but then, it doesn't work for them. And they go through all that effort, they spent all that money, and then they don't enjoy streaming. It's tough. So yeah.
better when they spend, all that money on a camera
Mm.
or on a mic, and it just sounds like a 20 quid mic as well.
I mean, like for me, if I go into your stream and you don't sound great, like I think that puts you off. It's the immediate thing that people might hear because you're, as I said before, you're like the radio station that they can interact with. Sometimes seeing you is way less important. Like, there's a bunch of people I know there's people who've moved to VTubing. There's people who do no cam streams, and I'm like, that's fine because they still read messages. You're still interacting with them, and while you're working, it really feels like, again, you have a radio station that you can say, "Hey." So I just see that comment.
I know.
You have a radio station that you can effectively have a back and forth with.
Get bullied, me.
You are.
Totally. And it's uncalled for because I'm actually a really, really nice person. I don't troll anybody at all. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, you don't troll. No,
No,
never.
not at
No,
all.
not even remotely. I
No.
like that. What Raj said is a good point. It's like watching a pirated movie. If the video quality's poor, you watch it, but if the audio is bad, you're like, no. As somebody who definitely watched Hellboy in a non-legal way, I can say for a fact that does count.
I mean, obviously, I remember videos being there, and obviously then DVDs. So I remember when DVDs were a new thing. I'm old enough to know when DVDs were a new thing. So I remember getting pirated DVDs.
Yes.
From Tony from the pub.
It used to be Tony from the pub, but Tony from the pub used to get them from somebody in the car park. Because it used to be that we saw people who they'd stop by where I used to work in retail. They'd be in the car park selling DVDs, and you'd be like, okay, cool. And then you'd say to them what movie, and they'd give you like some ridiculous price. They'd be like, these 10 DVDs for £5 or whatever. You're like, are you sure this is all right? Some of them were amazing. Some of them, it was like, this is the best thing ever. A lot of them weren't. But yeah, and like, I'm old enough for legal reasons. I can't exactly for legal reasons. I haven't done this at all. But like, I'm old enough to remember selling DVD players that were, no word of a lie. I mean, I don't know how framed I am. They were pretty big, like bigger than a VCR, bigger than a laptop. Like they were ridiculous, and they were really expensive. And at one point, like we sold. The deal was like you bought this DVD player, and then you got like 10 DVDs with it. And like I just remember them being some of the most random movies. Like it was like Cats and Dogs, but then also The Negotiator. And you're like,
what a film, though.
Yeah, dude, it really is. But like it was so weird. And like Goodfellas, is a 2-sided DVD. And I habitually would always put it in the wrong side down. So I'd always start, and I remember this like clear as day. It would always be when Karen's mad she finds out she's like, Janice Russo in 12B, is that hoa? And she's screaming and whatnot. It just would always start at that point. And it just stuck in my mind.
I mean, just so you know, when you did your hand things, we couldn't see where your hands were.
Okay, damn it.
Just so we know.
It was big.
He said he
really
said it's this big. I know you can't see my hands either, but he said this big.
Exactly. Imagine something big. I'd like to say probably bigger than like a 19-inch laptop. It was big. And really heavy as well. And used to make like a lot of noise because I don't know what they had in them. But maybe it was something to cool it down. It just sounded like a jet engine. It was really rough, man.
I can't even remember how we've got into this conversation.
Neither, but it's fine.
It's a good, brilliant tangent though, because it just shows. I'm always remember everything being pirated. So like, I remember CDs being pirated. I remember PS1 games being pirated.
Yes.
And DVDs being pirated. Now none of that's done because it's all like digital. You got Netflix and stuff like that. People think what on Spotify you've got all them stuff, so pirating just doesn't exist anymore. But
I am so bigger than a 19-inch object. Yeah, that's fine. Any 19-inch object. It's about as thick as a Yellow Pages, as well. No, it's because Raj was saying about it's like listening to it's like a pirate video. That's why.
It's Raj's fault. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, blame Raj.
Although going back to what you said to where you started streaming, it's weird that you started streaming watching Adam Savage, because that's a guy from Mythbusters, right?
No,
Is that Adam Savage? There's two.
there's another Adam Savage. Yeah, yeah. So like I say, he worked on Jinx TV
Right.
in the UK. So they do a show called The First Hour,
Right.
where they play the first hour of a video game, but it's kind of sped up, because it's TV. It's normally him and Anthony Richardson, I think is his surname.
Right.
And yeah, it was just those two, and I was like, oh, they're funny. And then I followed him on Twitter, and then like I say, that was it. And I think in his Twitter bio, he might actually say, no, not that one.
All right. So I've got wrong Adam Savage then.
Yeah.
Because I always say, I remember watching the Mythbusters Adam Savage. He does these things called one day builds, and they're brilliant. And he recently did a tinfoil one.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Like, again, it's the crap I watch on YouTube when you think you watch a 40-50 minute video on YouTube, and it's just in building something really random.
And I mean, let me see if I can find. I'll find his Twitch, because I know he's streaming earlier. He streams a lot of Fortnite at the moment. And while I appreciate him as a human being, I can't. A lot of Fortnite is not for me. There you go. That's who I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
There you go. Oh, my streak has been missed. Damn it.
I know. Everyone's streaks have been missed. Let's do a proper. Actually, no.
You getting an occasional crackling?
That is Discord.
Okay.
That is not making his. It happened last podcast. I think my CPU doesn't like recording, streaming, and Discord.
Right.
So.
You might be getting like an audio encoding issue or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping the next few podcasts use the Twitch guests feature.
You should have said I'm signed up to it.
So I just didn't want to put something in there without. I want to give it a little bit of a test before, because I don't know how well or how bad it works.
I mean, I can tell you this for a fact, that it does something, because it works in Chrome. It does something where it levels your mic for you, and you don't ask it to. So just be warned. You might go from whatever volume. If your mic currently is at like 50% or whatever, it will, while you're talking, just go up to like 60, 70, 80, and then you'll be like, why am I deafened? Like, he's got some big talk for great mic, but look at this double standard. Scandal.
So one thing I did want to brush over is how we met, because I'm not sure how we actually met, because we're friends with two different communities.
Yeah.
So we've got the Retro Stew community.
Yes.
And then there's the Dave Against, or what was Dave Against the Games community.
Yes.
Which you're part of as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which one I found you from. But...
So, do you know, the weird thing about it is, I think I found Dave by accident, because I was looking to buy Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I saw him playing that, and like the thing I'd found is, as a viewer, let alone anything else, sometimes the big rooms are tempting, right? Because you see that number and you're like, oh my god, there's so many people in there, it's like a big old party. But you go there, you say hello, and people might say hello, people might not. You feel like there's a lot going on. And I was like, that's too much. And I think his viewership, he had solid viewership. And I was like, that seems like a room I can be comfortable in. Went in there and said sort of like hi, hello kind of thing. And I reckon you must have been in there a couple of times, because then I went back and I liked his content, and like when he was doing stuff like the what's the permadeath mode in Last of Us? I can't remember what it's called. Blanking. But he did that, and I was like, dude, that's impressive, because it was you can't die. Like, there's a load of the HUD things turned off. Like, it's really stripped down. It's really an intense way of playing that game. And seeing how good, like, and how interactive he was, I was like, this is a cool place. Then I know he was doing his game show. And then I saw Stu on that. And then like I got introduced to like Snake Martin, I got introduced to probably Oliver, Stu that way, Femol, Puffy Pez, you know, like all of these people who like now amazing people know them better than I did then. And like then Stu was on either he was either on an interview thing or he was on the game show. And then I know it was like, oh, by the way, he's doing a 24-hour stream. So I was like, cool, I'll go check it out. And I remember the first thing I said was like, oh, only X amount of hours left. And everyone was like, oh, no, don't say it. And I was like, oh, shit. Speak of the devil. And I felt awful, you know. I was like, oh, I'm going to not talk for the next 6 hours or whatever it was. Because, you know, like, nobody tells you, by the way, when you walk into a 24-hour stream, don't tell them how long left, you know. But of course, it's obvious that you shouldn't really do that because if they're on their like final stretch, it's like the experience I have with like tattoos. When the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm nearly done," I'm like, "Great," but actually, what he means is I'm nearly done in like 40 minutes. But if you tell someone, "Oh, you've only got an hour left," that's all they can think about. So yeah, I get it, and I mean, like I say, dead on their feet. Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Nearly done means just starting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm nearly done. That means with the stencil.
Yes, he's like, I'm nearly done with the outline. But yeah, and then I think I then saw you in Stu stream, and then was like, oh hey, you know, because it was a name that I'd seen before, and you know, yeah. When you start to see familiar names, I think something about that makes you feel a bit more comfortable. And you're like, okay, I know this person like makes good jokes, and they're popular in that place, or you know, they're well loved. And yeah, like I said, I think it's just one of those things where we then interacted because of that. And then I would see you in different places and be like, hey, dude, you know, and it's really interesting, man. And I think that's how we met.
Yeah, I think probably what it was because obviously I've known Dave for well over 2 years streaming wise. I've known Stu about the same amount of time. Because if we're getting into Stu's community with Stu and Jiggly Peach, and them lurking and interacting in my stream that got me to the affiliate, which is about 2 years now. To be honest, it was November 2 years ago. I actually got to affiliate. So it would then, when you see like say you see the same person, there's always a amount of time you're gonna mix. But yeah, I knew Dave. Then I met Femo, and then I met like Norts and Joshers, Wendy.
Yeah, Wangers, yeah.
All them people. Puffy Reborn and Dragon Reborn, not Puffy Reborn, Puffy Pez and Dragon Reborn.
Yeah.
Even though Dragon's not a streamer himself,
Jacob
Hale.
Yeah.
Only people that actually don't stream. I know Puffy still streams, but like Jacob Hale doesn't stream anymore. His brother doesn't stream. North and Joshua doesn't stream. Femel hasn't streamed in a long time. You're thinking, these people are great streamers that just don't stream. I don't think Dave streams that much now. I ain't seen Dave stream.
No, I mean he said he was stepping away, and then I know he came back for like a stream, but I think he's again kind of taking some time. I think he said he doesn't know when the next stream would be, and I get that. I think for some people it worked during the pandemic. I think for some people it worked during that time in their life, and I think sometimes you get other things come up, and it just isn't something you can. Yeah, it isn't something that you can easily continue to do, with your day-to-day type thing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do what's right for you, and that's.
Yeah, and I think like you say, then seeing your name in places, it made me go like, oh, this is probably a cool place to be. And then, like you say, you just expand who you know, who you see, who you hang out with. Yeah, and then you make friends that way. And I mean, it's a strange thing of like you find people that you're more like the people that you'd hang out, which I find really interesting. And I think initially with Twitch, it can be very easy to think, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go to a name thing. But like I say, there's a lot of charm in things being much less hectic or busy. You know? Yeah.
There's a great balance in between having a too quiet of a stream where you've got you as the viewer's got to make all the conversation,
Yeah.
being in a stream where your comments are getting met or heard, and
Yeah.
I think that's why I enjoy, in this community, you go to Stu's stream, you go to your stream, you go, right, you can always have a good conversation, and it's going to be done, and everybody hangs out, and it's all great.
Mm.
So now we've done like 30 minutes, and we hadn't talked once about Streamerbot. On the Streamerbot podcast, which is fine because we've got a really good idea of who you are.
Yes.
And again, anyone who doesn't follow Meki should follow Meki. His links will be below if you're watching on YouTube, but I do have a button for it, which it won't work because my PC has been really slow at the time.
There you go.
There you go.
That's Stu's got you.
I know, but he could have done the slash one as well, though, couldn't he? Just saying,
That's that, but that slash one is so new that it's easy to forget.
So,
yes, that's a good point. That's a very good question.
You found SB because I recommended it to you.
You did. Because I had Stream Labs for a long time. Then, I briefly had Nightbot, but I couldn't really get on with Nightbot. I'm sure there are a lot of people who love what Nightbot does and could make it work and all that kind of stuff, but I was just like, yeah, dude, I was using Labs, and at one point, that was the only part I was keeping. Was I moved to OBS after a while because the resource drain from Labs versus OBS was massive. Then I kept the bot, but I kept the bot because it was one of those things where a lot of people were like, oh, it's fairly easy to use, yada yada yada. Beginner friendly, yeah, Scander, that's a good way to put it. But then I was like, for many reasons, which we all know, I was like, I'm gonna get away from Streamlabs. I can't be dealing with that anymore. And then I think you were like, I think I must have said something on stream or I must have mentioned it, and you were like, you know what? If you're gonna look at a bot, how about this one? And then you approached me, and you just like, here's the link, try it out, because if you're happy with a couple of things that we can do, we can then look at what else you want to do.
Yeah.
And I remember, again, it's going to sound really, really kind of like I'm trying to sell the bot to people, but what I would say is simple to install, simple to connect. And there is such a good Discord community now that, if you ever get stuck with anything, you're a couple of answers away from getting to what you need. And that, for me, really helped as well, because what I was finding was with some other bots, I was borrowing other people's commands and then trying to make them work for me, which didn't work. Sometimes it was the variable was wrong. It's all things that the sooner you start to know these things, it's great. But if somebody can just tell you, oh, it's because that command should be if, not this, or whatever, literally changes everything. And yeah, then I started building all of my sounds and things like that. So initially, that was the first thing that was really, really, really focused on was, does it connect to OBS? Does it connect to Twitch? Do I have all these sounds that I'd set up over time? Can we get them working? And yeah, because I think I don't want to jump ahead because I know there's a particular thing you want to cover, but there was a particular thing that I was doing, and then you then said to me, hey, we can do that in this. And just to wax lyrical a little bit more about Streamerbot, case in point, I mentioned an auto update button. Because at the moment, I know for a while you had this thing where you'd copy from one folder, you'd overwrite files to the other folder, and it just ignore the ones that, or it replace the ones that are there, which is fairly simple. But I was like, we just need a button. Can you guys get a button? And I know in this version of Streamerbot you've now got it. And I'm like, yeah, nice and easy. That's all I want.
It was on Nate's cards, I believe, for a long time, but it was just that something always else popped up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to speak for Nate but from my opinion, it was always on the cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the great thing about what I found about it is the way you can share code as well. So obviously I posted a link for Streambot in chat. There is an extension site full of really cool extensions on there. But going back to Streamlabs,
Yes.
there's a running joke in the Discord that when someone comes in and says, "I've got this issue connecting to Streamlabs," our reply is, "Don't use Streamlabs."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because for me now, you'll probably feel the same. You say when you've used Streamlabs and now you've got used to OBS, you'll probably feel the same way, that you don't see the user friendliness of Streamlabs anymore.
No, it's maddening because like the principle of it seemed amazing, and I couldn't get away from that. And like the fear of going to something else felt so scary. But then when I went to OBS, I was like, why was I ever doing it that way? And I know, like in principle, they're like, well, if you've got your alerts and all these kind of things, and you're like, stop that. As soon as you figure out there's other ways to do those things, like you can either have it in a bot, you can have it, wherever else. Stream Elements, you can have it in Triggerfy, like whatever you want to use. There are ways in which you can do all of that. And like, yeah, just like I say, to be honest, I've got Jerxes to thank for that, because Jerxes said to me, like, I would some days OBS would be such a problem. Sorry, not OBS. Streamlabs would be such a problem that it felt like it was unusable. And I, go back and watch those streams, and you're like, oh my god. All it took was the internet to be bad or something not quite right. It was using a lot of system resource to do it. Didn't look good. Didn't feel good. Wasn't a fun experience. The change over to OBS, I was just like, yeah, initially it's pain, but at the same time, like you can import these things. You can tell it to bring in existing scenes from something else. So that just made it a whole lot easier, man.
Switching from Streamlabs to OBS is really easy because you can literally grab your scene and everything from Streamlabs and put it straight into OBS. So when people say, well, I don't want to have to recreate everything, you don't need to. You can literally just grab it on. And if some things just don't work again, you can just tweak them. But there's so much more to OBS than there is Streamlabs.
But I think that's the thing, is that in your mind, you think you're going to have to rebuild it.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like the bot. Like in my mind, I felt fear because I was just like, hold on, I've got all of these things that I've done. I've got all of these like unique, fun things that I can do, and my shout out looks like this, or my thing looks like this, or my thing looks, all of these things I thought about. And I was worried about rebuilding them. And again, actually, it wasn't that complicated. Secondly, it wasn't a rebuild per se. It was just bringing some of those elements in, and like I say, dude, there's a reason that you have an artist badge on my channel, because as far as I'm concerned, yes, we have, Spice as the emote artist and stuff like that, but like the bot is a work of art. Like there are things that we couldn't be able to do without that. And I think, I wanted to show you and give you some credit for that, because it's just like, yeah. When have we had a problem since?
I'm not gonna
Some stuff might not run properly.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought I had the artist badge because of my brilliant singing voice.
Oh yeah, that as well.
Even though I've never actually sang on stream. Well, I probably have sang on stream, but I don't stream when people are here. I don't stream when people are here.
Yeah.
Because
we'll tell you you're not live, and then you can sing.
If you're lurking, you know you might catch me singing. But if you're chatting, no singing. It's gonna be off the table.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, dude. Song. And like, now we want a song. And like, even things like that you'd show me with the iterations of Streamerbot, like being able to control the channel point things in the bot, massive. Because I said to you earlier, generally speaking, I will have tabs of other people open in Twitch. I won't have mine. I won't have the dashboard. Like, none of that is being seen by me. I don't look at it. It's not even open. So if there was something like the channel points went wrong, or a particular command was broken, I'd have to open it up, go through so many other steps, close that down. You got your headphones dead, or you're right?
Yeah, one's dead.
You go through all these steps and you panic because you're like,
I hear him.
What do I do?
This is
if I have something channel point wise that's broken, before, what I would have done is, been like, either be right back screen, or in the midst of streaming, pause the game, be like, you know what? Hold on a second. Open up Twitch, go to the thing, go to it, modify it, turn it off, whatever. You know, like all of that, unnecessarily complicated. Then being able to do it in the bot and just linking it, and meaning that the bot owns the channel point. Turn it off like that. And then, you know, like in talking to you and you saying, you know, you could do that by this way or whatever. You then start to learn things you can use with your Stream Deck and stuff like that. And I can then press a button there and kill a channel point. Done.
Yeah.
You know, like that, for me, I was just like, man, this is a whole lot easier. Like I say, my initial fear was just because I had so many sounds. And I was like, how do I make them work? And I think also I had an issue with voice meter. No, wrong one. Voice, what's the other one? Voice mod.
Voice mod.
So voice mod caused me all kinds of grief. Basically, I think the machine I was on then, it was too much. It was asking too much of it. So it would have moments where voice meter would just start running. It would have moments where the audio would dip out and I'd have to reset everything.
Yeah.
I'd have to unmonitor and then remonitor. It was just like, and I found out why. It's because it was using different sample rates, but it took me ages to figure that out. But, you know, like that kind of stuff, I was like, ugh, what do I do with this? So again, I also had those sounds that I was like, I used to have them in voice meter. In voice mod, I can't use that anymore. I've got to change that. And like I say, it was a worry, but actually, in the end, it was really straightforward. You know,
Do you still use
I'm not
voice
forced
mod?
to do anything.
Do you still use voice mod?
No, I haven't reinstalled voice mod. I should. Because there was a lot of fun things that we could do with it.
Yeah, like I say now it's well, I don't know what when it got built into Streamerbot.
But I think a couple of versions ago, maybe.
I don't know if it was 1.8. It got built in because 1.8 was a big change.
Yeah,
I remember 1.8 being a really big change. Someone might be able to tell me different, but I think 1.8 got built in along with all the high heart rate stuff. I think it all came in at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I installed voice mod. I think I installed it yesterday because I have an issue installing a game, which is really irrelevant to the point because it's a massive install. I noticed, but yeah, I built a random voice generator. It changed my voice randomly. But
yeah, I mean, so at the moment, I've used the bot to do a couple of things. So it's like when somebody redeems this, change these settings. So I've managed to do some things like that, but it's not quite what it was. It used to be something completely different. That's Jess. Used to be like they could pick a random voice and stuff like that. But again, if you use the Twitch integration for that, it was always like limited. It felt like it was somebody could change it for points for a limited time and then it would just change back. But it felt really odd because there wasn't really a warning for it. It just happened.
Yeah.
You just hear this noise and you're like, oh, we changed voice? Okay, cool. You know.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, as I say to you, I've been loving the bot.
So one thing we'll move on to the thing that we really want to talk about.
That we're circling.
Yeah, so it's circling around. Is you had this game
yes
on your channel where that if you guessed the sound effect, you won a prize.
Yes.
And it became a point where it felt as a viewer, it became sometimes like a chore sometimes for you because you know you're thinking of clues, remembering the clues, and all that stuff, and not giving away too much information. And especially when you're in the moment of a game, trying to think, oh well, what clue can I think of?
Yep.
It felt like a lot of work.
Dude, it really was, and like when it existed before, it was. I had it as a exclamation whatever the thing was, right? If people knew there was a hidden sound or hidden sound effect or whatever, and I, like you say, I'd be there going, oh, it's a movie, it's a book, it's a game, you know, whatever. And I'd really struggle with, like you say, thinking of anything else to try and give clues for that. And like, I remember you reaching out to me and saying, you know, we could do some stuff here. We could like create a number of clues. We can set it, we can get it all done. And then that way you just have to turn it on and then people just have to press a button. You don't even have to go back and think of it.
Yeah.
That for me was like completely flipped it. because it was such a change, and it removed the pressure from me. Because initially, what I would do is I'd find a sound and then kind of think of rough clues as to what it would be. Um, with this, I'm very conscious of I'm like, right, 5 clues, incrementing, again, something that you put, and I was just like, that's genius. Like incrementing channel point for the cost, so people get invested. It became a thing that like people would really then hunt down and trying to nail down what it was. But it let me think like first clue is going to be something really basic, second clue is normally something a bit insightful. Third, fourth, and fifth clue. Fifth tends to be like something cryptically close to the thing that we're talking about, but potentially you could get it on number 4 if you know enough about the thing. 3, it depends on what it was, but like just that principle of trying to think about it beforehand made it like a whole lot easier, because then I would know I'm establishing it at this point. It exists at this point. I don't have to think about it. Like you say, there's no pressure of trying to be entertaining about the clue, just being and entertaining about the game. Like that was a real like weird balance. Because you're like, hold on, let me stop playing this very super serious game that needs all my attention. I think one of them was playing like a Mass Effect, and there's just like a bunch of shooting, very intense, trying to survive this bit, and somebody's like, any more than this clue? And I was like, like I felt the weight of having to try and come up with a clue for them at that point in time. But yeah, now it's a completely different thing. I know it's been off for a bit, but it was off for a bit because we were tweaking some stuff. But yeah, it's going to come back. I think what I'm working on now is not anything to do with the bot. It's how do I give the prize that I was giving before?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find a way in which I can give people like basically maximum discount or damn near maximum discount for getting a sticker for the stream. Like they wouldn't have to give me any not bank details, address details or anything like that. They could just do it.
Yeah.
So I've been working on trying to make that work. MDB, hello.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I can't remember exactly what the issue was or why it broke. There was something in my code where it
No, I
weren't
think
quite
what
clicking.
happened was we had when we had a couple of version updates to Streamerbot, we maybe didn't check them afterwards, and I think then we went live, and then it was like trying to get it working, and it was either stuck on the wrong clue. It didn't, it stopped doing the incremental increase. So I think it was one of the versions of Streamerbot, like reset what it was pointing to. So it was funny because it was buying a clue, but then actually wasn't using the right channel point redeem, so it wasn't adding the right increment to that channel point. And it's just this weird cycle. And I think eventually that's what we figured it out to be. But like you then, I mean, I know you came up with the idea of like having scrolling text. You're like, you can have this, you can have this, like all of those extra things as well.
An actual, like, say, animation or celebration, whatever you want to call it, when the clue were found. Which again, you can customize the way you want it. One thing I liked, what I added, was being able to recall the clues. So you could do clues, and it would tell you this is clue 1, clue 2, clue 3. And if there were only 3 clues being bought, it'd only tell you 3. And if there were 4, it'd tell you 4.
Because when we would, and again, that points to when we weren't doing it via the bot, because it was trying to remember what each clue was, and like that felt so pressured. And quite often a mod would be like, oh, these were the first 2 clues or whatever. But like that, trying to remember it, some days, dude, was not fun. So yeah, being able to just do exclamation clues and have it bring up what's been guessed already.
The best one was what sometimes what you used to do is you'd first say the clue as like they were an actor, and then next one would be she's an actress or something like that, and you'd end up giving more information from the same clue. And so we knew it straight away. Oh, it's a female actress. Or something like that. I think it was your Morgan Freeman one that you did. When you end up, and it was like, this can be done in the bot. This has to be done in the bot. And we obviously went away. We programmed it. And we tested it out, and it worked well for a little bit. Then, for whatever reason, it broke. And now,
Yeah, now we're happy it works again. I think, as I mentioned to you, the issue for me now is just trying to make sure I can find a way that people can get their prize without having to give me address and stuff like that. Because I know for some people they're like, no, I don't really want to do that, and I'm like, I get that.
That's fair enough.
So I'm trying to make it so that they can get like a discount code on the store and effectively just pay like 50 cents or 50p for the sticker. You know, like that for me, I think is probably the way to do it. So we'll see. As soon as I can get that working, I think it'll be back and working strong for everybody.
I mean, and with SB, I know I beat you that, but you've also sometimes been my like testing guinea pig.
Yeah.
So one thing that I released recently was the Windows Live notification thing. Now that
people love that, dude. People love it so much.
We went through 2 changes of that. So obviously I built one straight into OBS, and then I did it as a JavaScript thing. So it had the animated emotes and all that.
Yeah.
And that you can just see it on your stream, and I'm thinking that looks just so cool.
Yeah.
But it just, like I say, you've been there to test something for me, which helps as well. You know, building was great, but getting things tested really helps as well.
It really does. And the thing is, I think, you know, what I like about that is, again, you guys are thinking about what can you do? What can the bot do next? You know, what else can we make it do that would make that person's stream better or more straightforward? And I like that. I mean, like I said, I'm always happy to test. And like I say, the MSN thing, man, people love it. People are like, oh my God, that's so cool. They're like it just like it was. And I'm like, yeah. You know, Mickey is a test subject. Only sometimes. I love that KK's like, make a company, do it through a company. That way it's a legal entity. They give their job info to. Oh, yeah, true. I get that. And I love it to make my coffee.
The other thing we recently tested was the walk on sounds.
Yes.
I gave you some new code just to properly test the running. It will more to test the running action and action exists commands that Nate had added into Streamerbot.
Yeah.
Which I think are really handy, especially for switching scenes, again, for walking. So you can run an action of that person's name as soon as they're chatting in stream. And if that action doesn't exist, for example, they don't have one you create for them, then it'll run a default action. And being able to do that becomes
like
really easy.
I have a one that is a run action, and it's a Dark Souls like meme. It's like the screen goes grey, it's got the Dark Souls you died type of thing. And I remember trying to do that outside of the bot. And it was press a filter, press a button, do this. Like it was a multi-action button on Stream Deck. It was hoping that Stream Deck did the thing that I wanted it to. If I was on the wrong scene, it wouldn't work. If I pressed the wrong thing first, it wouldn't work. It was a lot of silliness. And like at one point I'd run it, you know, people would go, oh, that's cool. It'd finish. And then I had to, it would disappear from the screen, but I'd have to re-hide it. I'd have to set the status to hide to then run it again, because otherwise it wouldn't run again. And it's like that kind of silly stuff where you're just like, man. To do that in the bot just makes it a whole lot easier, because I can just tell it, quickly run this, you know what your action is, run that process, got your sound, you got this, after a certain amount of time, hide it again. I don't have to think about it. And like I said, that makes a big difference, man. Being able to do those things that are way more complicated if you try and do it via Stream Deck, or if you try and do it, you know, just by hotkeys or something. Yeah, horrible.
I mean, hypothetically, you're kind of somewhat doing the same thing, but you're just doing it in a more compact way, because you're still telling Streamerbot, trigger this filter, show this, hide this, do this, do this. But doing that in Streamer Deck or in Stream Deck is complicated. It's hard work.
Yeah,
just being able to
it's like you don't have the benefit to do like those delays and all those kind of things. You know, like for me, it's a lot easier to see it. I know what the delay is in seconds. I can test it and then say that's too quick, that's too slow. You know, it's really nice for you to be able to fix that on the fly. If you did it and you've got it on a deck and you're running it and it's too quick or too slow, you can't stop your stream to then try and fix it then and there. You can't be like, hold on, wait 20 minutes while I just mess around with what's on my Stream Deck. You know, like I say, having it in the bot just makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, definitely does make it easier.
And people love their walk-ins. You know, people are a big fan of those. like I say, it's majoritively people who've been around the stream for a while, VIPs and mods. I generally try and make sure that if people are happy with their walk-in, and if there's something that they want, we have that and we can then bring it in. And again, once it's set up, I don't have to worry about it.
No.
Even the transition to the newer version of Streamerbot, we did a couple of things. I think we had to check that it would still work. You had a better way of running that code. Done. And it's been simple, no problems.
I mean, now for you, adding someone new, you just have to add the action. So if you want to add one for KK, you just put KK964 gaming, space, walking, or I can't remember if you added the space or not, but you just put walking, create an action, and that would then run when KK came into your stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of making the if statement and trying to get the capitalization right and all that, and just thinking, I know you could use username and use all lowercase, but
I know, like even sorry, can you hear that torrential rain?
No.
I don't know, maybe you can. It's like heavy rain outside.
Okay.
Like ridiculously so.
I don't know if it's raining where I am. I can't actually see if it's raining where I am.
No, it's fine. I mean, our TV's having a moment. It's like I can't run anything. I'm a dish. I can't work. Sorry. Anyway,
Skylight.
But,
nope.
That's not tangent. Exactly. But like knowing that again, for me, if there was anything that I wanted to do, like I said, I can approach you guys and say, this is what I think we need to do. Future topic prompt. There you go from KK. You can answer that one.
I know. I do have an idea for the decks, but I need two-way communication. That's all I'm saying. But have you, going back on what you just said, have you got any ideas of things that you would like to build in Streamerbot? Have you any thought, I think this would be really good. I don't know how to do it, but I think this would be really good if I could do this.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely stuff that I kind of, for now, want to keep under wraps and talk through with you guys about here's what I'm thinking of. I think the main thing for me was, like I say, transitioning to a new setup was a massive thing. So I wanted to get that out of the way and be happy that everything's working. Now that I can look at bringing voice mod back in, and maybe we can use voice mod again. Getting the hidden sound effect working again was a big deal for me as well. And yeah, I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, yeah, okay, let's start thinking about other things that we can do. And something else that you introduced me to within the bot is there's a bunch of commands I can tell it to do as me, rather than with a lot of other bots or a lot of other ways of doing things. You try and tell Stream Elements to post as you, but it doesn't always work because sometimes it breaks, and it could be a pain to then try and fix that, because then you have to sign out, like the token needs resetting or whatever. Like there's all these kind of issues. Then it's then doesn't post as you, so then maybe it doesn't have your emotes, or it doesn't have this, that, or the other. Like just being able to do a lot of that stuff through the bot is lifesaver.
Yeah.
Plus things like your latest YouTube video. That was genius. That is so simple and straightforward. And I'm just like, I don't have to think about it. I set it up once, and I've not thought about it since. And I know I've seen an improvement in terms of click-through. Like when it was, here's my YouTube, I think people are then like, well, okay, yeah, sure, but then which video? But knowing that they can click through to the video puts them straight there, and they know what the video is, and they can decide in chat, do I care about his battle with Yorm? Actually, it was kind of fun. Let's go and click on that. Do I care about his review of this thing? Actually, yeah, let me go and check that out. So yeah, like I said, that's been really cool as well. So definitely have some ideas, but definitely stuff I think we'll probably talk about separately. And yeah, same as I know, like you guys are thinking of things. So if there's anything like, I think this would be cool for you. Yeah. I think it's worth having a chat about.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of ideas. Some of them are like, nah, that's a bit stupid. I mean, at the moment, my thing is learning JavaScript, and it's just not happening at the moment. I'm struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot more I'd like to do in JavaScript, just little things. But yeah, I think keeping a month of is good for a little bit. But do reach out again if you do need help.
Yeah.
As I always say.
But like I've said this to you, like knowing that I can do things in the bot has really, really made it easier, because like before I would have a sound, right? And a sound would exist either wherever it would exist. Something would tell it, go and get this sound, play it on stream. That's it. But in the bot, I can tell it a load of actions. So I can say, yeah, that's the command is exclamation whatever, sax or whatever. If needs be, I can then tell it to go and get me some person playing a sax moving around. If I have that, like it's really simple and straightforward to do that. I can almost make it like call and response in some cases. Like I had a Aaron, like you done messed up Aaron. So it would, anybody who redeemed that, it will play the sound, but it'll also tell them you done messed up and then that person.
Yeah.
But like now I know that if I want to include like the GIF of Mr. Garvey, it's really easy for me to do that because I can, and it's not, I don't have to run it as a separate thing. I don't have to tell it, there's no interdependencies. It's literally just, it's on that command, it's on that action. The action then has sub actions and then it just runs it, like that has been, really, really straightforward.
I think that concept of being able to do two things at the same with one command is why I started looking for other bots. Because when I first started streaming, I was using Stream Elements, and I realized you can't use a Stream Element command. You can play a sound with Stream Elements, but you can't then play a sound and send a message.
Yeah.
And if you can, I don't know how to do it, but I just couldn't do it for life in me.
Yeah.
So then I found Streamlabs chatbot, and I was like, I don't like this. It just didn't have enough customization for what I want. And then that's when I found Leo on board, and then I found Streamerbot, and obviously I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, well, it's like things like I used to have in one of the older bots, a thing that said hello to people, which was sort of an attempt at first words, but nowhere near as complex. But it had an issue where anybody said hello, like it was like hello, hi, hey. If those words came up, it was meant to then say hello, but then somebody would be joking about something in stream, and then they'd say like, hi. And the bot says hi to them again, and I was just like, "This is so silly." And that that is really typifying like the difference with that bot and like first words versus trying to do it in something else where I'm trying to find a way to tell it. If you see the word hello, say hello or whatever, or what's up, say this, and like putting that into Streamerbot just makes it so much easier. And I can customize that message. Like if I'm not happy with that message, I can just change it.
Yeah.
I can change it then and there. Like I say, having OBS here, and if I want to have the bot open on the other side, it's so simple and straightforward. And I don't have to go through a load of steps to make those changes. Literally while I'm live, I can do it.
Yeah. I mean, it is really cool, like I say. And I just like Streamerbot more than what, because if I were using Streamerbot now, I'd probably be using Sammy, which again is a fine bot. Same with Mix It Up, fine bot. They're free, they have much customization, but they say for me it's just a personal choice to use Streamerbot.
Yeah.
But to make things like first words easier in the bot and stuff like that, just so much easier. And again, to be able to have things where I think Silverlink who has some for the bot followers, when they says, big follower, do you want to follow, buy followers and all that. He has all load of combinations of like buy followers, big followers, all trigger that one command, so which will ban them.
Yeah.
So if you say any of them again, and I don't know if anything else does that. I don't know if anything else can actually do multiple triggers for the same action as simply as Streamerbot can.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think again, when you've tried to do things like that in other bots, it doesn't really work, or it has issues where it cancels and blocks the thing, and then you're panicking because it's not other people. So
Yeah, other bots with regex spot. I mean, I say regex. I don't really have a dumb idea where it is, but C#, he really opened up possibilities as well.
Yeah.
So obviously you're not. I don't mean this in the nicest possible way. This isn't offend. Is you're not in the point of using the bot to the level I use it in, or the
No,
knowledge I have.
no, but
So
I think that's one of the, again, one of the beauties of this bot. That I think if you just want it to do simple, easy things, you can. If you want
yeah,
it to do something a little bit more complicated, you can. If you want it to do something very complicated and complex, it can. It's just making sure that everything makes sense in terms of what it thinks it's doing, and all that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
yeah. There is a definitely spectrum for wherever you are on the spectrum to a complete tech noob or not know anything of how to turn on a PC to
Mm,
the world's greatest coder. The Streamerbot can do everything for somewhere on that line.
yeah.
But as someone who may be lower in the nicest possible way, um, what were your first impressions when you opened it, and then obviously secondly, what would you like to see in the future?
Mm. I think it's. Do you know what? It's a funny thing to whinge about. I want dark mode.
I know dark mode has been well and truly. I think there's on the ideas page, dark
Yeah,
mode is something like 250 upvotes, and the next one is like 110,
yeah.
which is
That
running action.
that doesn't surprise me. I think, like I said earlier, you guys having the update within the bot, forget about it. I mean, that makes my life a whole lot easier. Knowing that I can just run it there, knowing that I don't have to. Not that it's a massive problem, but copying from two folders, you want to make sure you don't miss something, and all it takes is you miss one file, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I don't know. I think that for me, the UI's like, again, I've seen the improvements in terms of the UI. I think I've seen where the UI's gone. Um, and like for the most part, I can't complain. I'd have to have a think about anything that I'm like, you should change this. No,
and
I
they
think, yeah, I think it works really well. I think, and the integration with things like Stream Deck helps. I think it's good to see you guys looking at those kind of things. I mean, my question would be if there's any way you can, what other integrations you have, like, do you link with Facecam or some other Logitech stuff, like all of those kind of things that potentially could make people's lives easier? Because I know, not everybody, people, we don't buy kit from all the same place,
yeah,
Some people do because, they have sponsorships or whatever else. But like being able to change something on my camera that isn't a bunch of buttons, but I can just do within a command or within an action. Like those things would be quite cool.
yeah, like
And voice mod, like
mm,
that's something that I used for a while.
yeah.
The fact that you have integration now is amazing. And like I said, I'm going to look at maybe bringing that back in. We can
I
have
mean,
some sing mode again.
like saying if you've got a heart rate monitor,
Yeah.
there's always that sort of stuff that you can add into your stream. I know it should it look like a smartwatch. I don't know if it's got a heart rate monitor on it, but
Well, I know a lot of people who do things like that, and they had found that it was like lots of steps for them to get it working. Um, yeah, and just that being straightforward is just like, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
I mean, one thing Waldo, who in chat, he's created a thing where on his horror streams, he has a channel point which plays a scary noise to make him jump.
Mm.
But that price of that changes based on his heart rate. So
Oh, that's cool.
if he's like really panicking, which is
Mm.
like most of the time, his heart
Yeah,
rate is really high, and so the price will be higher.
yeah.
If he ever calms down, it goes lower. But obviously, if it ever goes lower, we just raise it up because we're a loving community.
Of
Although
course, no trolling.
a fun story about that is on his first horror stream he played this year, he played The Quarry,
Oh yeah.
and he set it up, and I saw in Discord it said Waldo, underneath is playing The Quarry. I was like, I know what he's doing. So I went into his stream while he was offline, and I redeemed it. And it didn't half make him jump.
Nice.
I mean, weirdly, I tried to do the same thing to you about 2 3 days ago,
You did. You did.
and I failed. But
No, do
it's
you know
always
it's
fun.
funny because I know the mods have started doing that. So they know. that roughly, 10 minutes beforehand, there's a possibility that I'm going to be sat down. Yeah, take those. That's all right. I'm going to be sat down, getting everything ready. I'm checking that Pretzel's running. I'm checking that the bot's running. Like all of these things that I like to just make sure are there. Am I getting drop frames? Is OBS behaving? Is it connected to the capture card? Like all these things. They know I'm sat there. And I started playing stuff like when I'm on a scene. You did it as well. And the funny thing is, like on some scenes, I've deliberately not done sounds, so I can't hear them. And then others they're there, and I'm like, damn it. So yeah, it's been interesting sometimes to be sat there and out of the blue. It's so silly. I'm a trendsetter. You are. It's so silly because like these are sounds that when I'm on stream are not overly loud. They don't make me jump. But because I'm not expecting it, I don't see it. Like I'm doing something else. I'm not looking at chat. I don't know it's coming.
It's like that moment when you've got OBS open. For me, when I've got OBS up, I've got Streamerbot open, and I'm doing some coding thing, and someone follows me offline, and all of a
Oh
sudden
yeah, that one's
this,
freaky.
I hear this Spyro sound, and I'm like,
yeah.
And I do jump. I do jump. Like, I do jump. Never played a horror game on stream, and I probably won't do because I have a reputation to keep.
Little Nightmares was the closest I got to it.
I have a reputation to being, an ad man. Can't be jumping.
Exactly. Can't be jumping on stream.
Me and my
film.
Like,
I have Outlast, but I'm like, I don't really want to play that game. Like, it's a lot. Like LV playing PT the other day, I was just like, damn, dude, that man's unshakable.
But he's got a really good vibe, though, how he don't like absolutely, because it's quite a quiet vibe. It's quite a chill, quiet vibe. His LV stream. How when something like that don't make him jump, don't make him absolutely jump out of his skin. I have no idea.
Yeah. Like I imagine him in a haunted house. Like he's played it a lot. I know, but still, I imagine him in a haunted house, be like, "Oh no, scary." Whereas, in the for me, my kid pops a hand in to reach my shoulder, and I was like, it's a big old jump. I was not expecting it.
That one the other day.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I remember that.
Just like she could have stood here, and I would have
seen the swear word come out and stop yourself. You saw it come out and go like, nope.
Just like, but yeah. But not to digress too much. No, I don't. For me, I think I can see how much you guys are doing with Streamerbot, and like I say, it's worth, if you're not in the Discord and you want to use the bot, it's worth it because there'll be something in there that you'd be like, oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have anything else, dude.
I would always say the bot is always worth giving a look. Even if you set up a few things, like the bot can do everything. So where you might have stream elements, especially that you've got the sound alerts as well. You've got the Samuel L. Jackson ones for that.
Yeah.
You can move them away from things like that, so you don't need all them.
Yes, I'm going to. Yeah, and those are things that, to be honest.
Did you not have trigger fire at one point? Or
I do have trigger fire.
So things like that, you don't need things like that. And when it's not wrong or right to use them, it'd be putting it all in one place to control. For me, they're a key to the point that I can actually do that now.
Yeah,
and I can.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think, to be honest, there will be things like that will get moved to then make it in one place, and knowing that it just has to find the file on the computer, not run to a website and try and find it and come back to you. And it's fine mostly, but when trigger fire breaks, which it did, it just stopped working one day because they had some problems. There was nothing I could do about it. I was just sat there like, yeah, it is what it is.
I think the one thing with sound alerts, going onto sound alert, is that it don't refund. So if someone placements try and make you jump, and it don't play, they're not going to make you jump, and then they've lost the points, and then you're like, well, and then it's like, well, I'll play it again for you, but it's somewhat pointless. The idea of playing it was to make you jump.
Exactly. So yeah, man. I think probably those will be the things that I kind of do fairly soonish. Then other stuff, like I say, I'll have a think about.
I mean, and you got your shout outs. Again, there's
Indeed.
so many different like there's Clippy, there's Twitch Guru, there's another one which I can't remember. But again,
Neither.
that can be done in the bot. I mean, I think I've showed you so that this is Twitch, not something I've
Yeah.
actually shared publicly yet, but something that you can do in the bot. Just literally customize a shout out. So literally, Streamerbot does the awesome shout out. What you have on your stream, but yours is
Yeah.
in 2 different places.
Yeah.
And triggered with 2 different commands.
Yes, yeah. So, but that's still using Streamerbot.
That's
They're
still
still
Streamerbot.
using Streamerbot to do that. So, it knows if it does it one way, then there's a delay, then it runs the other one to then get the clip. So that's why.
Still clever.
So yeah, I know it's exactly like even that is just really clever. Even that is like time saving, because I like for me I like the clips. I think the clips work really well. I think it's cool seeing them. People often like they either feel really scared because they're like, oh no, not this clip, and you're like, okay, I can stop it if you need, but for the most part they enjoy it. But like knowing that, like I say, it's for the mods. For me, it's we run it once and then it does 2 things, and it's really straightforward, and the gap is correct.
Yeah.
And like, it just fits. It just fits, and it's again, as I said before, knowing that if I look at that and I say to the bot, well, actually, this is not enough of a delay. Like what I'm seeing is, does my shout out, it does the link for them, it does, whatever I have for them, a banner, whatever. Maybe one particular sound. But then the clip starts way too soon. I can change that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that, man. It's a lot easier. If you're using Stream Elements, Streamlabs, Trickifier, one of these other methods of doing that, you have to go into the site, go to the thing that you're trying to change it, refresh that link. Like it's a lot of extra steps that if you have it in the bot, it just is so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the customization, like I say, just being able to control everything with Streamerbot. You sort of like need to build it, but once you've built it, you've got the control, you've got everything you want, and it is.
I mean, if I'm honest, I would have loved to have had the bot ages ago, because I think that's my only like not even complaint. Like if I'd have had the bot before, it would have made life a whole lot easier. I would have built everything in there. I would have been further down the line. It wouldn't be, what do I do next? It would be actually, there's a bunch of stuff I want to do.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you had to get the bot now and transfer everything, say you didn't have the bot, you transfer everything over, yeah, it'd be a bit of a. But for me, I think if you just sat down, did it an hour and a half, just do it.
Yeah.
You probably done, and I know an hour and a half is a lot, but again, I say to people sometimes, maybe consider canceling a stream. Maybe I know that's not always the best answer, but
yeah,
if you're to tell me you've got no time to do it, and you're streaming,
then you need to find time. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, like
it's a priority thing for me.
Yeah, for me, normally if I'm going to make any changes to the bot or the stream or anything like that, it's normally it happens on a Wednesday or a Saturday.
Yeah.
With the idea being either it's ready for Sunday or ready for the next stream, and if not, then ready for the next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, even that just.
But then
like you say, what it's like. You need to take that time to try and fix it. If it's something that bothers you a lot during your stream,
yeah,
I'd rather not stream and fix it than try and force my way through it.
Again, you have that. You like you say, we were saying earlier. You have that time from like 7 o'clock till 7:30 when you stream, that you set things up, and that's a great time to say, well, let me try this. Let me fix this. Let me fix this. I think we did it with the walk-ons. It was about 15:15. We spent 10-15 minutes, and we went, all right, let's see what happens.
Case in point, exactly, dude. Like, you sent it to me. I was like, I don't really have time. We did it, and then it was right for what 99%. There's maybe one person it's not working for, but I need to figure out what's going on with that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Once you sent it to me, once we did it, I was like, what about this? Done. We were okay live. One thing we fixed while we were live, but again, didn't impact the stream. It took maybe 2 minutes to fix. It took rerunning or restarting that particular function, that particular action, and it was fine.
Yeah, I mean it is great. I was just going to grab the Streamerbot link again, but let me see if I can find it again for those who are interested. But yeah, so everything's going slow. Oh, let's see if this works. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll try that. It may take a while to post. But yeah, so that's kind of wrapping it up. We kind of ended on a nice point there. Unless you've got any further questions for me, or
no, dude.
anything.
I mean, like I say, I'm sure there's things that you can't tell us that maybe in the pipeline, and it'd be interesting to see those. And I think, again, I love the idea of this. I think it's very cool, and I think hearing what other people are using it for, names that I've seen places like Andy Lippy, you know, he's a person I have watched videos of and got tips from and been like, oh, okay, that's quite a cool thing to do. Yeah, TD with the secret knowledge. Exactly. If he tells you, he'd have to kill you. But yeah, no, nothing else for me, dude. I just, like I say, I appreciate all the help that you provided, you know, me over this experience. So yeah, man, thank you.
Right.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. I'm glad you came on.
No worries, dude.
I have got the next 3 guests planned.
Yeah.
But they're secret, as always.
Secret plans.
And then, see, now everything's coming in. So, all that little pop up there.
Yeah.
That these are controlled by Streamerbot using OBS Raw, everything like that.
Yeah.
So you see,
nice.
There's a bot. There's an extension site which is full of things that have been made by the community. There's Mickey's links, so do follow him. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, 7 p.m. UK time.
That's right. 7:30. Yeah.
UK time. I don't know what I said.
No, you said 7. I was like, don't take away my half an hour.
Yeah, get there early. Get there early. Be offline, but get there early. Get into his chat. Spamming start chanting.
Yeah.
Force him into starting. I reckon peer pressure enough could be enough. If you don't, then just I don't know.
Some days it is. Some days I'm like, you know what? I won't let the countdown continue. We
did speak about this though, didn't we? We said like about countdowns, like how long is too long for a countdown and all that.
Yeah.
You know, and we said 5 minutes seems about right. But you said sometimes I just edge start when I see a lot of people there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Sometimes you're just like, yep, you know what? There's people here. Let's go. People are having fun. Let's see what's happening. Like I said, I saw somebody who had a starting screen that was half an hour long, and it was still counting when I was just like, I can't. It's not for me.
I mean, I don't have a clock on mine, but I generally do it after that first initial ad ends.
Yeah, good shout, exactly.
But it's been a pleasure having you on. Please do go follow Mecca. His links will be obviously in chat. They'll be in the description. Everything. And all other links that we mentioned, I'll try get in there as well. So like the Adam Savage link and the Dave against the I don't know. I'll still put Dave's in even though he's not streaming because he's an awesome dude. Because he may come back. Still put that in there. And any other links that we mentioned, Stu's link and Puffy Pears and I'll put all them links as well because they're all amazing people.
Yeah, they're all wonderful streamers in their own right, and like I say, I think whether or not they believe it, they all contributed to my streaming journey. So didn't realize Mickey was small. What? Am I small?
But yeah, I put all them links in there. I'll rewatch a video because we're gonna have to do some editing because I did some tech issues.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. All good.
But all good. So I'm just gonna wrap it up. Again, check 16th is the next podcast about the same time. So as you can see above, there's is the times in certain places. So I'm London time. I do believe the clocks go back in America on the 6th.
They do this Sunday.
So you'll have to make accounts for that.
Yeah.
For the
Alice Springs. Look, you've got Alice Springs above me. Look, should I do that for you?
Yeah, that's Australia.
It is.
It's one of them that's the half, so it's not like a full time zone; it's a half time zone.
Yeah, so Australia's a bit of a funny one like that. I mean, that's what you get for Australians, really.
And the only reason I added it is because I wanted to test that I could do a half one. But it was like that's quarter to an hour 47 before this time. So 8 o'clock normal UK time is when we start these streams, and on the 16th, that's when the next one is. Follow me on Twitter to find out who it is, because it's a big secret. It's not a secret, but I'm just not telling you. I'm going to leave you in suspense, because everybody loves a good cliffhanger. And when my mouse works, we'll be able to switch to being able to say goodbye, and I'll see you all next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.